Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast. Training camps are underway for 32 NFL teams, and we are here at the Draft Professor, and we are prepping already for the 2026 NFL Draft. Brian is with us as usual on Fridays. We have special guest Alex. Alex, it is nice to meet you. It's nice to have you on a podcast. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Definitely glad to be here and appreciate you guys having me on. So ready to talk some offensive tackles.
Cool. Brian, I love seeing you on Sundays. What is the good word coming out of Packers camp right now?
It's so early. You can see people put out these takes and stuff, but it's so early. It's hard. It's 3 days in, 4 days in. It's nothing really too crazy going on.
So if your team needs a wide receiver, Curtis Samuel is probably going to be available. He seems to not be able to even get on the field during Buffalo training camp. So between injuries or whatever, but that's the early buzz that I was hearing today. After 4 days of training camp, he hasn't taken too many snaps. So that being said, we are going to cover the offensive line class. So Alex was given a list of some offensive linemen, and we're just going to kind of talk through some of the guys he watched and what his feel for the offensive line class is. We have a very similar podcast scheduled in about 2 weeks with some other people that were given the same list. But overall, Brian, right now, what is your feel of this offensive line class relative to the last two or three?
I don't feel like it's as deep. I mean, there's some decent depth to it, but it's not as deep because this last year I felt was pretty deep. The tackle class at the top, probably not as good, but there's a lot of guys I think that have potential to move up a lot. So it could get a lot better if we'll see at the end of the year. It's a lot of juniors and even a couple of redshirt sophomores who could really take this class to the next level or whatever. Guard, there's always a bunch of guards every year because there's regular guards and then there's tackles that are going to move to guard in the NFL. So there's always a bunch of guys there. The center class, there's some guys I like, there's some guys I'm not sure. I mean, some people really like the class. I'm just kind of not sure on the class yet so far.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because last year going into the draft, we were told that feels like it's a weaker offensive tackle class. Yet I believe when we counted on a different podcast, 8 of the first 37 picks last year were offensive line. And that was considered a weak class because, Will Campbell wasn't a tackle. Maybe he was a guard, something like that. I think this feels equal, maybe a little bit less, but we're in, I think 8 in the top 40 is kind of the benchmark we need to be looking at. So, Alex, out of the players that you watched, who did you like the best?
Oh, man. As far as right now, who I'd say probably looks like he has a chance to be the top tackle off the board, I'd probably go with Caden Proctor. He's just a massively framed offensive tackle he moves extremely well at his size. I mean, 6'7", 366 with that kind of foot speed is just not something you normally see. So he moves really well in his sets. He's got shock power in his hands. Even though with his hands is something I want to see him utilize more of and do more with, especially in pass protection. I think he could definitely use those as weapons more often, throw some feints in there. He's just a guy that I tweeted a video of him the other day, him getting out on a screen and his ability to throttle down and suddenly change directions at that size is just not something you normally see. So with him, I think he's a guy that, when you watch him on deuce blocks, I mean, he can completely just cave in a side of a defensive line just because of the sheer power he brings. I would actually with him though. I when I look at him, I wonder what could he be if he dropped 25 to 30 pounds? What would that do for him and his movement ability? Because he already moves so well. So you get down to 340, 335. What are you going to see from him, right? So I'd say right now with the traits and everything he brings, I'd probably say he's probably the best, but there's some other guys out there on this list that like Spencer Fano that have some unbelievable ability. So I'd go with him first.
So Brian, what is your height and weight for Caden Proctor right now?
Yeah, we haven't got anything official on him from Blesso or NFS, so it's just whatever he's listed at for Alabama, which is 6'7", 369.
And Brian, do you have any data on tackles that are 370 pounds or in that range? Do 370-pound tackles get drafted on day one or day two?
I remember Aaron Gibson did years ago by Detroit. I think he was in that range. Offhand, I'm trying to think. I can't think of anybody else offhand. I mean, there maybe Asman, but I can't think of anyone else offhand.
Right. So when DeJuan Jones was drafted, was he about 380?
No, I don't think he was that big.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I don't think he was that big.
Okay. So I think we've covered on Proctor on several podcasts, and I think what you said feels accurate, that he's 370 pounds. He's a good football player, and he's a large human. But from a draft standpoint, like if it's 380, it becomes like a negative.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's one that I think the fear with him would be, you draft him, you bring him in. What do you do if he shows up and he's 395? It's like, I mean, if you're 370, what happens if you come in, you put on another 15, 20 pounds? What's that going to do to you? So, yeah, he's one that, I want to see if this season, if he comes in, maybe he comes in a little lighter and then see if he can keep that weight down and then what it does for him. But again, even at 365, he still moves extremely well. So, yeah. I don't know what your thoughts are on him, Brian.
Actually, I just checked. DeJuan Jones was 374 at his pro day or combine or whatever, so sub 380. But I agree with mostly what you said about Proctor. I do feel like in pass pro, his movements are kind of labored just because I feel like he put on too much weight this past year.
Gotcha.
Because he came to Alabama, I believe, at a lighter weight. He came to Alabama like 350-ish, something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gotten too big. I can see the movements is struggling a little bit going from side to side and pass pro and stuff. So I feel like it again is the weight. He really cuts down the weight. Just needs a lot of technical improvement, play more consistent, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And Brian, how high do you have Proctor? Is he tackle 1, first round grade? Where are you on?
I'm lower on him. Alex is 1, 2, 3. I have him about tackle 12 right now.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, just because, like
is
I said,
that still a day 2 grade for you?
Yeah, I just want to see, like I said, I want to see the weight drop and stuff like that, and just the technical improvements and stuff like that. I think the film was kind of inconsistent sometimes and stuff like that too. So,
okay. Oh, Scotty from Baylor, welcome back. Scotty was here Thursday night when we covered the Baylor and TCU draft classes. So, Brian, I'm going to put you on the spot. What offensive lineman from Baylor are you tracking, Brian, and how high are they graded? I know that they have a guard that the podcast liked. Baylor has 2 guards. One of them they like more than the other. Omar, and I don't remember his last name.
Agbenigneon. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'd have to look into how to pronounce it. I haven't looked into it. Yeah, there's him. There's also Ryan Langale.
Yes, and he was the other one. Yep.
Yeah, I have official measurements on him, so NFS is probably higher on him. Yeah, I like them both. I think they're both got some talent. I think both day 3 guys, but the guys to keep an eye on for this draft class for sure.
And do you have anything on Sidney Fugar?
No, I actually have the other tackle, Alvin Ebosole. I think he got benched at some point last year. So, but I mean, he's got some talent. He's a big dude, 6'6", 315. So, he's a big dude with some size. I think he got benched this past year. So I'm curious to see how he does this year. What happens if he gets a spot back or not?
Yeah, Scotty, definitely thank you for stopping by. So, Alex, after Proctor, what was the next offensive lineman that you liked the most?
Man, as far as potential goes, there's so much to like about Spencer Fano. I like Caleb Lomu. It's Fano with me that there's things he does on film that makes you just look at him and go, man. First, I mean, he looks like he's 270. I mean, I know he's only about, I think he's listed around 300, 302. He doesn't look 300 pounds, right? He still needs to get bigger for sure. He needs to put on weight. With him, it's his movement. He's extremely light on his feet as an athlete. Watching him in the run game is extremely fun, right? Just his ability to get to the second level and change direction, all of it. I mean, he can do so many things that wow you. And in pass pro, he shows some things that you like. I think he definitely needs to improve. Another one, with his hands. Do see him get driven back into the quarterback. So I would like to see that strength improve in his lower body to be able to dig those heels in and show some anchor. I've seen some film of him today where he did show some ability to latch on and showed some play strength to not get driven back, which I liked, but I think that needs to get more consistent. And I also like that he's played left and the right side. So interested to see this year, does he settle more in on that right side? Because he has all the tools. He's the kind of guy that he has the tools that he can get to the NFL and continue to develop and turn into a hell of an offensive tackle. So a lot of it with him is potential and his athleticism and ability movement wise. So I'd probably lean more so him right now.
So Brian, how about you? Where are you on Fano?
Yeah, he's my tackle one right now. Some of the same things like Alex said. Like he moves, the way he moves is like he moves basically like a tight end. Mm-hmm. He moves so quick. His feet are so fast, they're so quick. Gets the second level super easy. But yeah, I'm betting he is not 304. I'm betting he's like 290-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely needs to add another 10, 15 pounds. Because he just looks so thin. He almost looks like a tight end in a way.
Yeah, 100%.
Technically, he's pretty proficient, of course. He's pretty proficient. I mean, obviously, still needs some stuff he needs to work on. But yeah, he has like pad level. He has a really good motor. Like I said, needs to add some weight. He's pretty explosive off the snap.
Yeah.
He again, like we said about moving a second level, he can be a killer as a puller. Just running down the field, blocking on the field. There was a play. I can't remember who it was. He was basically running down the field, stride for stride, almost with the running back. I can't remember who it was against, but still, he was just showing he's just really athletic and he's his motor. Sorry.
Yep.
And he plays good hand. His hands are pretty good. They're inside. He strikes at the chest plate. He will drop his hands sometimes, so he needs to work on that and not dropping them. But yeah, he handles speedy bendy edge rushers, no problem. His feet are always working. He keeps his back straight. He bends at the knees, not the waist. He's aggressive. It's an aggressive has kind of bit him in the butt a couple times, but it hasn't been too bad. Needs to work on resetting with his hands. He doesn't have a lot of pop when you initial contact, but that's probably just a weight bulk type thing. I saw him fall pretty badly for a Eurostep, which is kind of surprising one time. But yeah, and like Alex said, he needs to work on his anchor and that stuff. But
yep.
But yeah, I think he's like my tackle one right now, at least.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, he's one I could see he gets to the NFL and flips back to the left side just because of that athleticism he brings. You're gonna want him on that left side. So, I would like to see his hands develop quite a bit more as far as just his usage with them. With his athletic ability, he can easily recover. So, getting out there feinting just to get a reaction from guys to get him to do whatever he's wanting them to do and then react off that. So little things like that with him. It's something I'd really like to see him progress with this year. But obviously jumping from left to right, that's probably been a thing he's been working on, hard just to settle into that position. So I'm interested to see how much more he progresses this year on that right side.
Okay, and one of the other players you had mentioned, Alex, pre-show was Isaiah World from Oregon. So how much did you like World, Alex? And what did you see when you watched him?
Man, with World, he's that guy that, first off, physically he looks great, right? Frame wise, I mean, he just looks really good physically. Thin ankles, all of it. But the big thing with him, I think he's on the Oregon website, he's listed at 6'8", but I think I've seen him listed, a few inches shorter than that. So I'm not sure what his official size is. But physically looks good, has really long arms, which is what you want to see. He shouldn't have any issues with length. The big thing with him is his flexibility, man. It's in pass pro. He plays with really good pad level. It's not an issue for him. The other thing I like out of him that I see pretty consistently is the base that he plays with. A lot of, you'll see him balanced often, but also it's the play strength. You'll see him taking on power rushes, and you just don't see him give up a lot of depth. Getting driven back into the quarterback. Now he will have times where his base isn't under him, and then you'll see him get off balance, and that's where guys can long arm and drive him back. But the potential with him, that length mixed with that flexibility and the athleticism he brings as a tackle, there's a lot of potential there you could work with. He'll show flashes with hand usage you want to see, but you do see, some two-hand punches a little too much that he's going to need to work on. Also in his movement, sometimes you'll see him. Okay, gotcha. So listed in the 6'5", so a little shorter. You'll see him in his pass set. Sometimes his elbows are going back, which you don't want to see, right? He's using those elbows to get back into his set. But for the most part, feel like he's got good feet. I think where he needs to improve the most also is going to be in the running game. There's times where, I don't know if you agree with this or saw this, Brian, but there's times with him where he kind of almost looks like he gets lost assignment wise and just kind of bounces around. And it's like, whoa, wait, what just happened here? Which I feel like that happens too much. I also like to see him play with a little better pad level in the running game. He just doesn't really get a ton of drive, blocking in the running game, but you will see him, climb to the second level off combos and does well with that. So I think there's a lot of potential with him. But obviously, just like some of these other guys, and with a lot of this draft class, we're going to need to see him take a big step forward this year as well. So
Brian, what do you see in Isaiah World?
Yeah, I like him a lot too. Again, I have him a little bit lower right now as far as in my rankings, but I think he's being at Oregon. If he develops some more, I think he can really shoot up the boards. Yeah, we have official measurements on him: 6'5", 321, gotcha. With 34 and a half inch arms. So big dude, thick lower body. Very little fat on his body. He looks pretty trim actually at his size. Yeah. Big broad shoulders. He fires off the ball in the run game without good balance. Sorry. So when he's in the run game, yeah, I kind of agree with Alf Saints. He comes off the run game with like just some weird balance issues or something. I think he's got to work on that. But pass pro, he sets a good anchor. In pass pro, he never has problems with power rushers. His hands can get a little bit wide, but his hands overall are pretty good. Keeps his elbows in and all that. Good kick slide. Keeps his butt low. Keeps it back straight. You can block on the second level. Not a great blocker, but he can get some of those lower level athletes and mid level athletes. The freakier guys he might have more trouble with, but he can get most of those second level defenders. Recognizes blitzers really well. I did notice weird was he tends to be a little more inside hand dominant. It's kind of weird for a left tackle, but at least he can use his hands independently. That's obviously a plus because a lot of college tackles don't do that. Mm-hmm. And then, but he's got good grip strength and pass pro. His peripheral vision could be a little better. Just keep an eye on what's going on around him. Keeps his legs moving in the run game, though. He does have some moments in the run game, though. And he does provide some movement when he is showing those movements. He'll lose leverage battles sometimes. He'll get push-pulled. Needs to continue working on that with his balance and his getting his height down or his knees down. Sorry. Just needs to keep himself between it, and he'll. Sorry, I'm reading my notes here real quick. Needs to resetting his hands needs to be a little bit faster when he's doing that. Not the most aggressive blocker. Sorry, but he'll play to the whistle. He does stumble sometimes. I see him when he's running in the. He's being used as a pull as a puller. I think being in a pro style weight program will help him too. Just weight training and stuff like that, and because Nevada's not the greatest.
Right. And I think that's the other thing too, is he's going to face better pass rushers being in Oregon. So I'm definitely interested to see how he fares against better competition up there at Oregon. So yeah, in the running game, I agree with you. You know, there's times where you'll see flashes of him get out of his stance and, execute on a backside cutoff. Then there's times you see him, like you said, Brian, and he'll get out of his stance and he kind of looks a little labored or a little off balance as he's getting down the line. And then you'll see flashes where he connects at the second level and you see the physicality and the balance that you want to see, and he'll drive guys downfield or knock them off their feet like you want. You know, you obviously love to see those kinds of finishes. So it's with him, it's really just seeing that more consistently. I want to see him carry that more into the season. So, but the tools, I don't think it's an issue with the tools. The tools are definitely there with him. So we'll see how he progresses.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So one of the other offensive linemen that we had picked to discuss was Xavier Chaplin from Auburn. Brian, what do you have on Xavier Chaplin?
Yeah, initially coming in, off last season, I liked him a lot, but watching him more now, even still, I've kind of moved down on him a little bit. I still like him, but I mean, I don't have official numbers on him. Let me see. I think we just have measurements, or the school measurements, I should say. Yeah, he's listed at 6'6", 338, but I don't have. Actually, let me double check my database. Don't have official numbers on him. No. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's a big dude, strong dude. Where we go? But he looks a lot smaller than he's listed. But I don't doubt that he's that big. So he's got this big frame where he's like 330-ish, but he looks like he can carry another 15 pounds, although I don't want him doing that. But I noticed that he just had hip for such a big guy. His hips are kind of narrow, but he's got his feet move pretty well for his size, not great. But he can be a little bit stiff in the upper body. He's well built. He's strong. He's got good arm length. I think I'm guessing 34. I don't have official numbers, so I'm guessing he's probably around 34. He's got big hands. He does bend at the waist too much in pass pro. Does come off the snap kind of high sometimes. He's only played left tackle. I think he's probably going to be a right tackle because of a little bit of stiffness and a little bit of average athleticism. But he does have the upper body strength to throw defenders around. I've seen it a number of times in throwing defenders to the ground, tossing them out of the screen. Basically, is when he's mirroring a pass pro. Sometimes his feet will stop, and that'll get him in trouble. But he needs to keep moving around. But he does have the movement skills to get to the second level, mostly in straight line type of stuff, not really moving around. But if he's got an aiming point and he's going for a straight for that spot, he can get there. He'll strike sometimes high and outside with his hands, so he needs to bring his arms in and just fix his accuracy with his hands. Effort at time can be a little inconsistent, but he carries his hands low. We'll also get lost when plays break down. We'll kind of just sort of stand around sometimes where he's kind of like looking around like he's like, wait, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But he can get bull rushed because he does have like again, like I said, he gets kind of high sometimes, so he'll get kind of bull rushed sometimes. So he just needs, like I said, needs to bend his knees to keep his butt down. But he does good with resetting his hands. He plays a good balance for the most part. You rarely ever see him on the ground. I've seen him a few times throw out a snatch trap. When he's trying to beat a defender outside, it seems that he kind of drags his legs. So I think his right leg. So I think he just needs to work on some conditioning, some just getting his feet more in line. Maybe go play some basketball or something. Like I said, he does get caught over sitting sometimes as well. But like I said, he's a big dude, strong dude. I think just needs a lot of technical refinement. I think he could become a decent right tackle. It's just he needs a lot of technical refinement and probably maybe needs to get his more endurance work.
So, Alex, with Xavier Chaplin, where are you in the left tackle, right tackle portion of that, and what do you think of the player?
Yeah, I don't see a left tackle with him. For me, his biggest issues are his lower body flexibility. He's got so much stiffness in his lower body right now that really, really hinder him in pass protection, right? He's fun to watch as a run blocker, right? He's a guy that, man, he's easily one of the best blocking offensive tackles as far as in the running game in the country. He's another guy that just when he puts his hands on people, he folds people over. It's just not an issue for him. He can drive people off the ball. He's fun to watch in front side kick out blocks because he can grab a hold of people and hip torque them and just move them wherever he wants them. So he's definitely got the strength there. Combo blocks, he gets big time movement, which is what you want to see. But other things with him that you see as far as in the running games, he can be delayed off the ball. He can be late off the snap, and that's something that actually, whenever I was watching him, I felt like I noticed often. Another issue with him is that I feel like is coming off the ball. There's times where he drops his weight. He has to drop his weight just to get out of his stance, which is another issue with him. So in pass pro, he's really hunched over in his set, really hunched over. So he can get overextended, really struggles to redirect back inside because of that lower body stiffness that he deals with. So the way he wins most often that you see him is either with his length, because he does have the ability to turn and shut down the corner, and his length helps him there. But he relies on that snatch trap a lot, and a lot of times his base isn't under him. He's getting driven back, and he feels the long arm, so he just knocks it down. Which that may work now, and you may be able to recover being delayed off the snap, but in the NFL, it's just not going to work. So he's one that's, while he's fun to watch in the running game, there's a lot of improvement that's going to have to happen with him at Auburn this year, and he's going to face better competition and pass rushers and guys that can bend and get the corner, where he struggles against guys that can get low. So yeah, right now he's not somebody I would have high up on my board for the offensive tackles unless he improves greatly. So we'll see where he comes from that.
Okay. So Alex, as I'm getting used to not high, are you not day 2 high on Xavier Chaplin?
No.
Like, you wouldn't use a day 2 pick on him?
No, not unless this year he shows much improved flexibility, and shows better agility as a tackle, ability to redirect back inside, things like that. The run game stuff is something that excites you, but obviously in the NFL, if you can't pass block and you struggle there, you're not going to be able to help teams. So I'd say right now, at best, he's a late day 3 right now currently.
Okay. So Brian, where are you on Xavier Chaplin as far as either where your tackle board is or where they are in your overall big board?
Yeah, I actually have like an early day 3 grade on him, just because, like I said, he's a good run blocker. He's showing flashes of pass pro, just a lot of technical stuff he needs to work on. So yeah, like I have an early day 3 grade on him. I think that's probably also projecting he's going to have some improvement technically and stuff like that. And he also has a wrestling background from high school and stuff, so that's always a positive offensive lineman. For sure.
I did notice that Auburn has him listed at almost 350 now, if that's accurate. So if that's true, then he's put on, if it's true, then he's obviously put on quite a bit of weight, which I don't know that that's really going to help him. But
no, it's not.
Yeah, we'll definitely see where he goes.
And Alex, I also wanted to clarify something. We didn't mention this at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
This was your first look at this draft class, right?
Yeah. Coming in, I'm starting from ground zero. So just now, some guys I've seen before watching, some stuff last year, but for the most part, some of these guys I'm seeing, right now.
Yeah. And from my standpoint, I love having that on the channel where, Brian and I have been podcasting on this draft class, what feels like for a couple of months. Yeah. I realize it may only be 4 weeks, Brian, but it feels
I think so. I think so.
Yeah. So I love the fresh analysis. And I think the next player we're going to cover is Caleb Tiernan. Mm-hmm. And Brian, what is your take on Tiernan? And I'm looking forward to Alex's counter as soon as you're done.
Yeah, like coming off of last year's film, so I was trying to find him real quick. I had him as a tackle. Sorry, I was looking at my board real quick. I'm trying to remember if I still have him as a tackle, but yeah, he's good with his official numbers coming in and already looking like that's where it was. Oh, there he is. Yeah, because he had 32.5-inch arms. So, and he's 6'7.5". So I'm just like, I'm not sure what you do with that guy that's so tall. So yeah, I think you move him to guard, but I don't know because, like again, you're gonna have a 6'8" guard. I don't know how it's gonna work in the NFL, being so tall. But I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he's a solid player. I mean, he's not a great run blocker, but he's really good in pass pro. But those short arms do show up on film. So, at the very least, I think you move him to right tackle, but I think he ends up as a guard. Just one of those players. I want to see this year how he does this year, but
yeah,
I'm just kind of torn on where you play him in the NFL.
Yeah, and I didn't properly introduce Caleb Tiernan, tackle Northwestern. I didn't put the Northwestern, but Alex, your first look at Caleb Tiernan, what was it? Positive, negative? What did you think?
I actually, coming away from it, I liked what I saw with Tiernan. Midway through, I was like, wait a second, I haven't even looked at what his measurements are. I went back and looked and was like, man, another 30 guy with 32.5-inch arms. So if that's the thing now, is it's like watching him. I'm one of those that I know that a lot of it is, if you don't have 33-inch arms or longer, there's no way you can play tackle in the NFL, right? Where I don't fully agree with that mindset. I'm one of those that if you show that you understand how to use your hands, you understand timing, placement, all of that, and you've shown the ability to execute on that, I'm somebody that believes that you can play in the NFL at tackle with a little bit shorter arms, right? Than the average, I should say. With him, what I did notice with him is he does have a tendency to play with effective timing with his hands in pass pro. Shows pretty good foot quickness. He does show the ability to get to his spot and mirror and ride guys off the loop. I do like that there are times you will see with him, and something that I didn't see a lot of with some other tackles that I watched is there are times where you will see him land that heavy inside hand strike that can be very effective for left tackles. Dan Moore's a guy in the NFL that has shown the ability. I know he's dealt with a lot of scrutiny because of different things that he's dealt with in his career, but guys that can land a heavy inside strike can really impact pass rushers at times. And throw them off. So I like to see that from him. In the running game, he showed the ability to climb to the second level. And one thing I really liked about him is that he's one of those that when he connects, he stays connected. There's been multiple guys I've watched that when they get to the second level, they make initial contact and then they fall off the block, right? The guy just immediately chucks them off and then makes a move and gets to the ball. With him, I saw him multiple times show the ability to latch on and stay connected to the block, which is what you want to see. When he got beat in pass pro, a lot of times he was either late or didn't throw his hands. So then he went to make the turn and the guy, dipped or ripped underneath him, and he just didn't have, his hands weren't in place to be able to fight him off the loop. But with him, I do think there's a lot to like there. He showed some lateral movement that I liked in the running game. He shows some pop in his hands. So he has physical tools. It's just going to be now, how it is in the NFL. Is he going to get to the combine and all that? And they're going to say, oh, his arms are too short. He needs to play guard. I do think he shows the ability. I think he shows enough flexibility that he could possibly be a guard in the NFL. I think he has the play strength to do it. So I guess we'll see. But I like him still as a tackle. We'll just see where his arms end up.
So Brian, any response to the comment here from Football with Shaw? We definitely have some new fans in the chat, so thank you very much. Brian, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, Braden Smith, it was a guy I liked coming out. So there's always exceptions to the rule. It's not like, okay, if your arms are 32 and 3/4 inch, you cannot play tackle 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's just you have to find those exceptions. There's certain guys that are exceptions to it. But the majority of guys under 33-inch arms end up playing guard. But there's still always, like I said, there's always exceptions, especially with Tiernan's height. I think maybe he might be too tall to play guard. So I think you just put him at tackle, and he's got good technical skills. He's a good athlete. It's not like he's this big, slow moving plotting guy. Yeah. Where you're like, okay, we have to move him to guard anyway. But so he's got the skills to do it. It's just like the arm length is a question. Can he overcome that question? Does he have skills and things that can compensate for that? Does he have really quick feet? Does he have really good positionals? All that type of stuff. The hand placement, his accuracy, hand accuracy, his pop in his hands, like all that stuff. If he has compensations for that, then you can do it. But yeah. So it's just
the last 2 or 3 drafts, and I guess Peter Skoronski might even be more than 3 drafts ago, but we've had like Peter Skoronski, Graham Barton, Will Campbell, Caleb Tiernan. How similar are any of those 4 players as far as how we're discussing them, right? Because we had some of the arm discussion with Skoronski. We definitely had it with Will Campbell for the full draft cycle last year.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the same thing with Tiernan?
Probably. I mean, just, because draft Twitter runs out of things to talk about, so it'll get talked about for sure, and it'll come up again, once Senior Bowl comes, Combine comes, and those measurements come out, and it'll get talked about. It'll get rehashed. It'll kind of go away for a while, and it'll get rehashed. Yeah. And especially if maybe Tiernan can get one of those arm length coaches, and they can get his arms a little bit longer. Maybe we'll see.
So, Alex, how about you? Like, what do you like? If you had to think of a draft comp for Tiernan, does he remind you of a Will Campbell or a Skoronski, or do you see them as completely different kinds of players?
I think Campbell's probably. I would say Campbell's probably better than Tiernan, as far as just technical skill ability, and I think he's going to be more powerful. I think his hands are better. What I don't even remember, Brian. You'll probably remember this. What was Campbell's arm length?
32 something.
Yeah.
I have to look. Yeah.
It
was 32 something.
Yeah, he's one that I throughout the draft last year I said I thought he could play tackle in the NFL. So we'll see. As far as a comp, I don't really have one at the moment. So yeah. I'm not sure.
32 and 5/8.
Yep. Okay.
32 and 5/8, yeah.
So did either of you watch Tiernan against Michigan?
Yes.
So any thoughts on Sam's comment, Alex?
Yeah. So Sam, speaking back on what I said earlier, as far as with Josiah Stewart, I believe one of the reps that he actually gave up the sack on, Stewart beats him around the corner, and you don't see Tiernan throw his hands. He kind of gets underneath him, and he kind of just tries to lean on him and ride him around the loop. So I think I want to say also, I can't remember if he set vertical in that or not. But I think he needed to be quicker with his hands. He needed to do something to impact him as a rusher, right? Throw a feint, do something to impact him. And if I remember correctly, he didn't throw anything out there. And Stewart just basically said, all right, I'm taking this outside, and was able to dip and get underneath him. To counter that, though, to Sam, I will say, if you go back now, though, if you check out his tape against Ohio State and how he played against JT in that game. He played really well against JT on the outside against Ohio State. So I liked his tape against Ohio State. I still felt like there were times he did well against Michigan. So, but yeah.
So I definitely want to give a shout out to Brandon. It feels like you're here nearly every night, so it's good to see you. Sam, sometimes Sam is where he is now, and I can't even call that the cheap seats. Like Sam always bringing pointed comments. You will see Sam covering quarterbacks on Friday night. He will be one of the four podcasters covering Klubnik, Sellers, Hoover, Manning, Nussmeier, I believe at 5 that we have on Friday. So, Sam, it'll be good to see you then. Home Squad Sports, if you need any information on your favorite college's high school recruiting class, Home Squad Sports with the high school big board. So, and you can catch Dalton and Daniel podcasting on Mondays, starting a week from Monday. Okay. So giving a couple of the draft professors a little commercial there. Okay.
I will say off topic, I love Hoover's film. He's a fun watch.
Yes.
Man.
Okay. So you see, this is interesting because there are people. So Brian, like I know that Sam loves Hoover, but we covered the TCU draft class, and I will definitely say Hoover is divisive. It's like viewer's choice.
Yeah, he's divisive a little bit.
Where are you on Hoover, Alex?
I actually have not watched Hoover's film. Quarterback is one that I do want to get to. As far as the quarterbacks in this draft, I've watched a little bit of Nussmeier last year. I've just been when it comes to film, I try to focus mostly on the trenches. But I was actually talking about earlier today and said, as soon as I get done with the trenches, I don't know when that'll be. My next position would be I'll go to quarterback. So hopefully at some point I'll have some notes on him.
Okay. So Alex, one of the other players that you mentioned was Derek Simmons. And if memory serves me correctly, he's a transfer into Oklahoma, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I think we covered him on the Oklahoma podcast. But what do you have on Derek Simmons?
Man, I'm going to sound like a homer because I am an OU guy, but I loved his film. I only got to see two of his games, and from last year. One of the games he's at left tackle. The other game he's at right tackle. So he's versatile in that regard. He moves extremely well. Feet, athleticism, all of it. He's a guy that he can do anything you need him to athletically. I like how technical he is in pass pro. Now, mind you, he's going against guys from like Wofford, places like that. So not anything against those guys, but you may have some guys at that level that make it to the league. But moving over to Oklahoma, he's going to face the best pass rushers in the country. So this is going to be a big jump up for him. But looking at him athletically, looking at him from what he shows on tape, as far as anchor goes, play strength, all of it, feet. I mean, he's got a lot of tools. He's another guy that's going to be, well, what kind of arm length is he looking at? I think he's another guy that has 32.5-inch arms, if I'm not mistaken. But I really liked what I saw of him, want to see more of him. So it's going to be, how does he fare against that level of competition? But there's a lot to like that Beat and Bo just brought into Norman for sure with Derek Simmons.
So, Brian, where are you in Derek Simmons?
I haven't watched much of him. I just haven't gone around. I don't have Western Carolina film. I think it was Abilene Christian this past year, right? Abilene Christian first.
No. I think I want to say he was always – maybe he was at Abilene Christian. I'm not sure.
Because of Western Carolina this past year, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I've gone to – I haven't been able to get a hold of his film. But I mean, I have measurements and stuff on him from NFS and some basic PFF data, I've looked into about him, but I just haven't got to his film.
Yeah.
So we got 6'5", 318 with 32.25-inch arms. He played at a couple small schools, and like you said, he's played left tackle, right tackle.
Yep.
I haven't really got to his film, like I said, but according to at least PFF, he's got some good pass pro grades. A little bit inconsistent at times as far as his grades, but other than that, I don't really have much on him.
Yeah, the people on the Oklahoma podcast were excited for Simmons.
Yep. Yeah, he's in pass pro, like I said, with his feet. There's a clip I tweeted of him where you see him help inside, and I want to say I think it's a stunt. He helps inside, and then you see him. The processing on the play is great. It's not a tackle in stunt. It's an end linebacker stunt. And as he helps inside, you already see his eyes are looking at the linebacker as he comes across, and then he has the agility and the feet to recover, get back, and shuts down the edge on the linebacker. It's a really impressive play to watch him move the way that he does. So, plays balanced with his base. I think he's a guy that can come in. He's not a guy that's going to come in and not play on the field for OU with Beat and Bo. So. Most likely, like Sam says there, I won't be surprised you see him. He'll probably get kicked into guard, but I'm definitely interested to see how he looks at tackle at OU this year, facing better competition.
Yeah, that's definitely a jump to go from where he was. You said Coastal Carolina,
Western Carolina.
You go from Western Carolina to SEC.
Yep.
That's probably 2 jumps, maybe 3 jumps.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big jump. I think he has the ability to step right in and be just fine, but never know.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Alex, the last player that you had mentioned was Francis Mauigoa from Miami, and you think Mauigoa, like you're thinking guard.
Yeah. So I turned him on, and knowing that I wanted to focus on tackles, I turned him on, and I've watched a little bit of, I want to say like maybe a game and like a quarter of him. And after coming away from that, I basically was like, this guy I think is 100% an inside prospect or inside lineman. He's not I don't see an offensive tackle with him. Obviously, he's strong in the upper body, but when you watch him in his pass sets, he almost looks like he's standing straight up. just to get back in his kick step. I look at him and say, now I want to look at him and say, I don't know what kind of flexibility he has because I need to watch him more. I don't, obviously you got to be flexible and you got to be able to get down and play against bigger interior D linemen. So we'll see, but I don't see an offensive tackle prospect initially from what I've seen at Maui go. I don't know if you agree, Brian.
Yeah, pretty much. In my database, I still have him listed as a tackle for now, but I just don't see that tackle athleticism per se. I mean, he's a good athlete overall for his size and whatnot, but I don't think his arms are that long. I don't think they're like tiny or anything like that, but the length isn't great. I agree. And I just think his play style and all that stuff and his size, he just looks like he's built to be a guard.
Yep.
Okay. So let's pause for a quick commercial. And then when we come back, Alex, if there's any more offensive linemen that you want to talk about that you've watched, you can add them. And then Brian, you can talk about some of the other offensive linemen that you have in your top 10.
Yep.
So Brian, you want to let everybody know about your great draft database and all of your other draft content?
Yeah, just over the course, like I said, if you see here, just be Maafi NFL, it was catch me there. I'm always tweeting out about draft or posting clips, or if you're a Packers fan, you want to talk Packers stuff on there. Also do writing for the draft and stuff like that. And on here every Sunday. Anything else than that? Not much other than that. Just mostly on Twitter and doing my draft writing and stuff.
Cool. Alex.
Yeah, with me, honestly, I'm just now starting to really try and focus more so on draft prospects moving forward. Mostly coming into this before this year, I was more so watching at the high school level and trying to uncover under the radar type recruits that just weren't really getting much attention. So that was really my focus, but tried to get away from the recruiting side of things because I just didn't enjoy covering the recruiting side. I like the scouting side. So, what better than to be able to watch full game film versus highlight tapes. So wanted to move more towards the college level prospects. So that's more so that's where you'll find me. You'll find me on Twitter, and that's @king_evals, and posting a lot of videos, and soon to be, going to be hopefully putting out some more draft content for sure.
Well, it's awesome having new people on the podcast who want to talk about draft. That's pretty much how the channel has grown to where it is people like you guest appearing, and then there's a lot of people that guest appear and then they keep coming back.
Awesome.
Sam guest appeared and now he keeps coming back. It's just funny how that works sometimes.
That's awesome, man. No, it's definitely fun to follow.
Thank you. So you can follow the channel at NFL Draft Fanatic, no I in Fanatic. It is the same on X and YouTube. And what we would like, if you're watching and you're enjoying this content, please go to YouTube and hit the subscribe. We have daily draft content. So every day we have new content on the draft. So right now we're breaking down offensive linemen, and this podcast is live on a Sunday. On Monday, we're breaking down the Texas draft class. Tuesday, we are breaking down the Florida draft class. Wednesday, we are discussing the entire tight end class. Thursday, we are doing a mailbag with Devin Jackson. Thursday. I gotta remember which day. Yeah. So Thursday, we have a second podcast. I had to remember which day hit two. So Thursday, there's two podcasts. The 7 p.m. Eastern podcast. A couple of draft professors don't have a board built. So one draft professor is giving his top five offensive tackles, top five guards, top two centers. And then the podcast is going to discuss them for the other few draft professors that want to make sure they have a board built before the season begins.
Gotcha.
Friday, we are breaking down quarterbacks. So as I said, Sam Teets, Durst, Bill Sparks, Anthony Russo, covering Garrett Nussmeier, Lenora Sellers, Arch Manning, Josh Hoover, Cabe Klubnik. Saturday, there is a drafted team Saturday morning. So you're going to see about 150, probably about the top 150 player names will get dropped about 10 seconds each. And then Sunday next week, it's a big one. We have Brian's friend Dalton Miller will be hopping on the podcast, and Ian Cummings from Pro Football Network will be joining them, as will EJ Holt, and they'll be going over their top 20 cornerback boards. So that's what we have in store for the next week, and I probably have to update that banner a little bit because we're already at Sunday on that one. But that's what you get when you follow Draft Professor. Every single day from now until April, we are going to have a podcast that's going to cover the draft some way, somehow. But that being said, Alex, any other offensive lineman that you caught a glimpse of? I know that you didn't have a chance to watch a lot, but any other offensive lineman maybe catch your eye or that you want to bring up?
Yeah, I'd say for sure a guy that maybe we could have probably talked about earlier is Caleb Lomu. He's a guy that definitely is going to be somebody that's going to be obviously well looked at for this draft. Has 6'6". I think he's listed at 302. He's another guy that it's funny when you look at Utah, they have multiple of their guys. They're all almost identical in size. It's like, okay, that's interesting. So Lomu, like Fondo, he's a guy that I'd like to see him put on weight. I'd like to see him get stronger. He's got plenty of length. He's athletic. He doesn't have the wow factor that Fondo brings with some of the things that Fondo puts on tape. But Lomu's good in his own right. One of the things that I like the most about him on tape that really jumped out at me was how smoothly he can redirect. You see him time and time again redirect on inside moves and shuts it down with ease. His feet are smooth. He's really savvy with his hands. You see him utilize the snatch trap a lot, which I'm one of those. I like the snatch trap. My concern sometimes is that some guys are so dependent on it that you'd like to see them also be able to utilize their hands in other ways too. Like to see you get underneath guys' hands, refit, show you can anchor. I'm going to continue to watch more film on Lomu. The big thing with him is I have seen him at times get driven back. And I haven't really I'm trying to remember. I don't really recall seeing him actually show and drop anger and bring those hips through just yet on film that I've watched. Brian, you may have seen that in multiple spots. I'm still looking and watching to see, him show that ability. But yeah, no, he can climb to the second level. He's not a guy that's really gonna climb up and just, decleat, defenders. I think he's better in pass pro than he is as a run blocker right now. But he's got plenty of ability. I want to say he was a sophomore last year, so this will be his third year. But he's got a lot of ability, and I think he's a solid left tackle right now. I don't know. I know I've seen some talk of him being the number one tackle in the draft. I don't see that just yet, but I think he's definitely got tools to work with and continue to develop.
So, Brian, what do you have on Lomu?
Yeah, he's actually a redshirt sophomore this year, so he could obviously for sure go back again, and it's pretty impressive what he did this past year as a redshirt freshman because he was redshirt for it's pretty crazy. And then kind of like what Alex mentioned as far as the same size, it's funny, him and Fano are basically listed within a couple pounds of each other, 2 pounds of each other, same height, but they look different physically. Lomu looks bigger. He looks probably like he's closer to his actual listing weight and height and weight and stuff. But I see some similarities and some differences between them. I think Fano is obviously the better athlete, the quicker guy, but I think Lomu handles power better, actually. I think he's got a better anchor than Fano against power rushers. So I think he's got more, more potential to move up than Fano, I think. Because right now he's a little lower, but I think if he has a huge year this year, he could jump into being tackle one possibly. I think Fano's already up there. I don't think Fano can go much higher, overall, just because I think he's pretty technically proficient as it is. Lomu just needs a lot of technical work again, just because he was a one-year starter, just a redshirt freshman last year. But also, of course, it indicates there's a good chance he goes back, just because you don't see a lot of redshirt sophomore offensive linemen come out. So that's kind of why I'm kind of iffy on his. How do I say not iffy, but just not sure on my ranking of him, just because I think there's a good chance he probably goes back. Yeah. Because again, like I said, just being a redshirt sophomore. But again, like I said, I see he's got some things that Fano doesn't have, some things that are different. I think he he definitely has athleticism to stay at tackle in the league. He's got good length. He can, like I said, he can handle power. He's good. He's already really good in pass pro. I think overall he's probably better in pass pro than Fano. Not a huge difference, but I think he's better in pass pro at least. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think right now when you watch them, I think Fano, I like him more as a run blocker right now, and Lomu as the pass blocker.
Exactly.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's all right. I'm the less I talk, sometimes the better it goes. So, Brian, any other offensive tackles that you would like to mention?
Yeah, a guy I really like is pretty high on my board that hasn't really gotten much talk for I don't know why. Is Corey Robinson from Arkansas. He transferred over from Georgia Tech this offseason. I really love this film. I got official measurements of 6'4", 303 with 34-inch arms. Over here, sorry. Oh yeah, he originally started at Kansas, then he transferred to Georgia Tech. So I know that he's got a big body with the frame to add more weight. He's not the fleetest of foot. He's not going to be competing with Fanu, but he's got pretty quick feet. He can move a mirror. He's pretty efficient as movements. He's patient. He doesn't open the gate. You don't see him opening the gate too soon. His base could be better. It's a little bit narrow, but it could be, it's okay. It could be narrow, not super explosive, but he's generally one of the first guys off the snap. They used him as a puller, and he's pretty quick to get around. Even they pulled him around from left tackle all the way over to the B side gap. The right guard's a B side gap, and he's done pretty good at being able to get over there. He can get down the field. I've even seen him catch DBs in the open field, just completely annihilating them. He has a nice kick step and pass pro. He can use his hands pretty independently, but he will favor his outside hand, which is at least preferably, if you're going to favor one, at least a tackle favor their outside one. His knee bend could be better though, and also during reps he'll start out good, but he'll kind of rise up a bit. So he needs to work on that, keeping his butt down basically throughout the rep. He will drop his hands a bit in pass pro, which NFL defenders will be able to take care of that. Will take advantage of that, and get into his chest. Because he has good length, he doesn't take advantage of it as much as he should. So I think he should use his length more to keep defenders at bay and in the run game and all that type of stuff. But he has good awareness. He's always keeping eyes out on his left guard to make sure he's okay and he's doing good. And if he needs help, he'll throw a little jab at the defender that he's engaging with if he looks like he's starting to lose a little bit. The only thing I don't like that the offensive play at Georgia Tech is not really a great translation to the NFL. It's a heavy run game, heavy RPO, all that type of stuff. So I think it's going to be which going to Arkansas, I don't know if that's going to change a super lot, but hopefully he gets some more NFL style play at Arkansas. In the run game, he doesn't have a lot of pop, but he will get some push on guys. His accuracy needs some work. His hands can come a little low sometimes, but overall they're pretty good. Once he gets his hands on you, and locks him in, you're not going anywhere. But the run game, he's okay. He's not a killer. He's not going to try and bury you constantly, but he keeps his leg working. He'll get guys moving out of the way. He'll even pile on top of dudes at times, which is always nice to see. But to be more effective in the run game, since he's not a big power guy, I think he needs to work on his positioning, be able to work his positioning better to where if he's got the running back coming off on his right side, be able to turn his body a bit to kind of block whoever he's blocking, to keep himself in between him and like the running back, as the running back passes him. He did really good at communicating and passing off defenders who are stunting, hands them off easily, smoothly. He wasn't used as doing double teams or anything, duo or any double teams or anything like that very often, but the couple times he did, he looked good. Good spatial awareness and pass pro. But yeah, I think he's a guy who could sneak up on the boards this year. Just I think playing at Georgia Tech, he probably didn't get a lot of look, but playing at Arkansas, I think he'll get more looks and he'll get more talked about this year as we go into the draft season.
For sure.
Okay. Alex, anybody else that you have watched even a little bit of that you either want to ask a question or state your opinion?
I'm trying to remember here who else I've taken a look at. I watched a little bit of where'd he go? What's his name? Jacarius Peak He's another one that looks more like a tight end than an offensive tackle. The little bit I watched, was intrigued by. I think that one of the first 2 clips I saw of him versus Clemson, you just see him. I think he just, he hip torques the guy off his feet, just buries him, into the turf. The DN for Clemson. So even at that, at 298 to show that kind of ability is pretty impressive. I see Sam's question there. I don't actually have any thoughts on it. I need to actually watch Max, Sam, but Brian may have watched him. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but go ahead and finish with your thing with PK.
Yeah. So he's one that I want to see more of. Obviously, at 298, you're gonna need to put on some more weight there. Another guy that I cut the film on recently, a little bit of, was the tackle out of Memphis. He's listed at 277. He shows some good athleticism. You see good feet, quick feet there. Good agility, but at 277, he's going to have to put on a lot of weight to really be looked at for the next level. So, but yeah, just trying to dive in more to some of these guys, and want to watch the entire tackle class if I can, and hopefully in that process uncover some more tackles that maybe aren't being discussed right now. So,
yeah. So, Brian, what thoughts on Sam's question for Arizona State's Max Ihina?
Yeah, it's something. It's something. I'm at a point right now. I'm not looking into how to pronounce guys' names yet. I usually do that later on. Yeah, it's something like that. Because it's not important right now. It's important later, but it's basically getting your information, get the film. But yeah, he's an interesting guy. He started out at a little small junior college, East Los Angeles Community College, and they transferred over 23. He's okay. He's played right tackle only. His upside, I'm kind of on his upside. We do have official measurements on him as 6'5.5", 322 with 34.25-quarter-inch arms, so at least he's got the good length. But I don't see a day 1 or day 2 player out of him. I see like a mid day 3 player, like a depth piece for him. A guy you bring in and you teach him to play left tackle, right tackle, and he's kind of your swing tackle. That's kind of what I see from him. He's okay athlete, not great. I think he's pretty much tapped out, so to speak, as far as upside. So, of course, obviously every player needs some stuff they need to work on, but overall, I think he's a decent player, solid prospect. But I think, again, like I said, just like at best, he's probably like a swing tackle, which is obviously a good thing. NFL needs that, but I don't think he's a high upside type guy.
Okay. Brian, any other players that you want to mention?
I will actually mention where do you go? I have actually official measurements on Chris Adams, the Memphis guy you're talking about, Alex. The Memphis guy. Sorry. I do have official measurements on him. He there he is. 6'4.5", 300 with 33 and 5/8 inch arms. So it must be just an old listing, that 277 or whatever. He's another guy, again, that's a sleeper. Corey Kinnon's talked about him. He's been talking about him for a good month or so. He's a guy I really like a lot. I want to see how he does this year again, of course. I'm curious to see him this year, if he looks bigger or if he was already 300 before, you know what I mean? Or if he's added weight this year. So that's going to be interesting to see, because I think he did his anchor wasn't great. It needs some work. So hopefully he was at 277 last year, and this year's 300, so he's got an improved anchor. But again, he's a guy I like. I have a late day 2 grade on him. I like him. I think he's got some talent. He's athletic. He's a good mover. I think he could stay at left tackle in the NFL. It's just getting the competition up, and getting that weight up, getting that strength up, improving his hands, just mirroring guys better, picking up stunts and that type of stuff. So he's a guy to keep an eye on.
Yeah, for sure. I think that.
Okay, so if you're interested in more on the offensive line class, there's several podcasts that will be coming up in August. There's going to be a Monday show where Clay Finks and a few others are going to go through a significant amount of the offensive line that they have graded, and just trying to talk about how deep is the class and how many players are we tracking. There's going to be an offensive line podcast, like I said, on Thursday at 7 p.m. talking about 13 specific players that were watched that one draft professor has rated high.
Okay.
Right. And then let's see, Sam Teets, Bill Sparks, Randall Slifer, and Travis May from A to Z Sports will have an offensive watch list podcast. So that's basically going to be we'll break it down by position, but they're going to cover every offensive lineman, for example, they have in their top 150.
Okay.
So again, if most of the people that watch Draft Professor right now are people that are building boards, if you're looking for who are the higher rated prospects that different people are watching, we are going to give you that information sometime during the month of August. If you want to be informed of when those podcasts are, hit the subscribe on YouTube, please and thank you. But that being said, we have been going for an hour. For Brian Maafi, special guest Alex King, for myself, the 85 podcasters at the Draft Professor. Thank you for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on a podcast again tomorrow.